Hello all, welcome to this video. In this video, we are going to look at the rule management in the pfSense firewall. Now in earlier video, I said I'll be covering proxy firewalls. But let's see more about rule management. This was a requirement, or you can say a suggestion that I got from some people. So I decided to elaborate more about the rule management in the pfSense firewall. Basic packet filter firewall, all packet filter firewalls, as we have seen, will be making decision based on source IP address, destination IP address, source port, destination port, and the protocol. So now in this video, let's see how you manage the ICMP traffic, the UDP traffic, the most common traffic that happens in your network. Most of the firewalls will allow you to do the same thing. The interface may be different. So let's dive into that. So in the pfSense console, when you go to firewall and rules, this is where the rules are there which apply to the packets that arrive on the WAN interface. If you click on the LAN, these are the rules that apply to the traffic that comes from the LAN interface. Now, in earlier video, we created these two rules. So one was to block the Wikipedia website, and the second one was to block the micromax.in website. Now this is related to TCP traffic. Now let's see how you can block a ping, that is the ICMP protocol. You know that ping uses ICMP, echo request and echo reply packet types. So let's see how to block that. Now I will go to one of the client, and from client we will try to ping to maybe say the default DNS server 8.8.8.8. Now in VirtualBox, to log in to your Windows machine, you have to press right side control and delete button. So let's log in to this client. Same way, let me log in to the second client. Yes, it's already on. So this particular client is server 1 and its IP address is 56.20. Let's open the command prompt. Now once the command prompt opens, I will ping to 8.8.8.8. So I am able to get the reply from that. Okay, so this is 56.20 client. Now let's see from the second client also. This is the second client, name is server 2 and the IP address is 56.30. So let's open command prompt here also. Now once the command prompt opens, I will again ping to 8.8.8.8. So now we are able to ping to 8.8.8 from both the clients. Now our requirement is that the client with the IP address 192.168.56.30 should not be able to ping to 8.8.8.8. This is how in the production environment you will get certain requirements. Now these requirements will be based on some operations or maybe a result of the risk assessment. Based on that, it will be decided that certain traffic should not be allowed. Now as an administrator, you have to configure your firewall to match that security policy or the security requirement and block that particular traffic. So now let's see how we can block the ICMP traffic, that is going to 8.8.8 from 192.168.56.30. This is how any requirement that you receive, the most important thing that you need to identify is source IP address, destination IP address, and the protocol. So in our case, if you see, the protocol is ICMP. So now let's go to the pfSense firewall rule section, and in the LAN, again, because the direction is important, you need to understand from where the packet is coming and where it is going. So in our case, the packet gets initiated from the client machine, and it will be coming to the LAN interface. And from LAN interface, it will be going out on the WAN interface, and then it will go out. So first entry point is the LAN interface. That's why we have to write the rule in the LAN interface. So let's add the rule. As we already know, we have to add the rule above this allow all rule. Otherwise, the traffic is allowed. So let's do that. That's why I click on this add button with up arrow. Now, this is where, as we have to block the traffic, we will select block. Okay. Now, in earlier video, I said there is a difference between block and reject. Now, you don't have to just listen to me. You have to read also. So keep a habit of reading all those things mentioned here. So if you see, they have given a hint here which says the difference between block and reject is that with reject a packet. Now what packet? So in case of TCP, it is sending an RST. Port unreachable will be going for UDP. Okay. So this is how it is mentioned. Sometimes the behavior may be different based on the firewall. So always read the things carefully which are given on the console. So as we have to block the traffic, it will be block. Again, the interface is LAN. We are considering IPv4. If you want to block the traffic based on IPv6, then you can select that. Now, here the protocol. The protocol is important. Now, which traffic you are going to block? The ping traffic. So, which protocol is used by ping? That you should know. So, now ping uses ICMP. So, here we have to specify the ICMP. Now, there is an IGMP, which is a different protocol, and ICMP is a different protocol. So, we need Internet Control Messaging Protocol, that is ICMP. So, select that. Here, as I said, you can block entire ICMP going from 56.30 to 8.8.8, or you can select a specific type of ICMP packet. So in this case, as I said here, the ping command uses echo request and echo reply. So when you give the ping command, the machine on which you give this command is actually sending an ICMP echo request to the destination, and then in return the destination will send back echo reply to your machine. So in this case, if you select echo request, then only the ICMP packets with echo request will be blocked. So I'm selecting echo request to display this particular thing. Now this is where you select this. Now this option will be there only for those protocols which have these kind of options. In case of TCP, UDP, there are no such options. Now in the source, here you have to select, again, if it's a entire subnet, entire network, select that LAN subnets, or you can select this. In case if you have multiple networks in your LAN, you can select the network option and specify the specific network address. But in our case here, it's a single machine IP address, which is 192.168.56.30. Now destination, again it's a single address, so select address or alias and type 8.8.8.8. Okay. Only in case if you are specifying a network address, then you have to specify the subnet mask in the CIDR format. Now again, as usual, if you want to keep track of these things, select the log option and finally save. So once you save, you get this apply changes button. Click on that. So now the rule is applied. So here you will see this rule comes at the top and it is applied. Let's try from the client 2. So let's confirm the IP address. This is 192.168.56.30, and earlier we were able to ping to 8.8.8. Now let's repeat the same command and see if we get the reply. So now if you see, you are getting request timeout because your packet from this machine is going out ICMP for 8.8.8 echo request. But as it reaches the pfSense firewall says, sorry, the administrator has said don't allow this traffic. So I'm going to drop it. And that is why now you are not able to ping. This is how you have configured the firewall to meet first security requirement, that ping should not be allowed from this particular. This is how you can block an ICMP traffic. Now next traffic we will look at is the UDP, that how you block the UDP traffic. Now for UDP, let's see the DNS traffic. Now let's go to client 1, client 2 again, both the clients. So this is our client 1, which is 56.20. Now you know that NSLOOKUP command will send a query to the DNS server, and then DNS server uses UDP traffic, or you can say the UDP protocol. First look at that both the clients are able to connect to the DNS. So NSLOOKUP www. Let's find out the IP address of redhat.com. So now this is the redhat.com. This is the IP address for Red Hat. Now this is from client 1, which is 56.20. Let's go to the second client. Now from second client also I'll give, this is how you can give any website name. So second client is also able to go to 8.8.8, which is 56.30 in our case. Now suppose the requirement is that the client 192.168.56.20 should not be able to use the DNS 8.8.8.8. Okay, so now let's add a rule. Again, we have to add a rule in the LAN section because the traffic is coming on the LAN interface. Again, the rule should be above, because if we say below, it will add rule below this. Okay, at the end of these rules. So again, click add. Now let's see about reject. We will not come to know because the error message that is sent by the pfSense firewall goes to the operating system, or you can say the TCP/IP stack, which handles that. So it is not displayed to the user. We'll keep it reject. Again, LAN IPv4. Now what protocol? We are going to block the DNS traffic, and as we have said, DNS uses UDP. So let's select the UDP. Now if you see in UDP, you are not getting options like ICMP because UDP just uses the port, and based on port you will have to manage the traffic. So again, source, it's a single IP address, which is 192.168.56.20, and destination, again it's a single IP, which is 8.8.8.8. Now here, if you see, in case of ICMP, there was no option for specifying the port, but in case of UDP or TCP, as these protocols use ports, you will get these options. So now that is why it is important, you need to know all the port numbers used by important services. because this is how you control the traffic. That is why now what is the port number used by DNS server? Now DNS server uses both TCP and UDP port 53. Now it's your homework to find out which port is used for what purpose. Okay. So here we are blocking UDP 53. So I'll say here 53 and 53 port number. Our protocol is UDP. So we are blocking UDP port 53 for the DNS server. So find out where the TCP port 53 is used and where the UDP port 53 is used. So select the log option. It's not necessary each time, because see, again they have given a hint here that the firewall has limited local log space. So if you try to log each and everything, that will increase the number of logs. That is going to consume a lot of space also from the firewall hard disk. And another important thing is it becomes difficult to find out the logs, because you want to know something which is really fishy or something which is really important from the security point of view. So if unnecessary logs are there, finding out that particular thing is difficult, to notice that particular thing. So always keep minimum logs, the important ones, and click save. Apply changes. So here we have done that. Okay. 56.20 is not able to do this. So it's not giving this particular red mark. Now why? So this is because we have selected the reject option and not the block option. This is how you will see different notifications. Now these things are important because when you go for an auditing and when you have to do a firewall audit, you may have to look into these rules. So this is how a list of rules will be shown, and you have to look at them and find out which rule is loving what. Or as a new administrator, you may join to an organization where the firewall is already configured by someone else. Now in that condition, it's important that you need to understand each and every rule, what it is doing and how that firewall is configured by the earlier administrator. So you may have to go through the manual of that particular firewall and find out these kind of notifications. Okay. So now let's see, the rule is applied for 56.20. So let's go to 56.20. This is 56.20 machine and try to do NS lookup. So I'll give a different name, maybe Microsoft.com. Now if you see, it is trying to connect to 8.8.8.8, but no traffic because the packet is not going. This is how each and every software will have a timeout. So here if you see, it is trying to send 4 requests before giving you a message saying sorry, I am not able to connect. Okay, it's timeout. So this is how this machine now will not be able to use DNS. Okay. Now what do you think? Can this machine now access internet? What do you think? Please write your answer in the comment and let me know what you think. Okay. So now let's go to the second machine. This is 56.30 and let's try to do the NS lookup. So here you see this machine is able to get the answer easily because firewall is allowing the traffic from 56.30 to 8.8.8.8. Right. So this is how you can block the UDP traffic. You can decide whether you want to allow certain traffic or block certain traffic based on port numbers. That's why the port numbers, the protocol is very much important in configuring these firewalls. Now let's again try to block ping. So let's try to ping to microsoft.com from here, and let's see if we get the answer. So if I say ping, now the answer here, it is 23.212. So let's try to give the answer given by this particular NS lookup. So yes, we are able to get the ping. Now we want to block it. So what you can do is, here again, come to this rules, firewall rules in the LAN section. Again we will add. Now this time also again I will select reject. Let's see whether we get that hand option to this rule also. Okay, now this time it will be ICMP, because we want to block the ping traffic. Now here let's say any. So it means all type of ping to the Microsoft IP will be blocked. So source IP, again it will be 192.168.56.30, and the destination address .47. Okay, so this is the address. Again I'm not going to select the log option now, and let's click save. Okay, and apply changes. So now if you see, again you get that same hand option. It means that hand option is for reject rules. This is from notification you will know that okay, these rules are rejecting the packet, these rules are blocking, the block option is selected, and for these the pass option is there, those rules with the green tick mark. This is how it becomes easier to know. So let's try, let's go to that. Now here same ping command. Now you can see you are not able to get the ping. This is how you can block the ping request. Okay, so you are not getting any ping. This is how you block the ping traffic. Now let's see how to block an FTP traffic. If you search for the free public FTP servers on the Google, you will get a list of free public FTP servers. Again, it is not recommended to use them, but for testing purpose we are just using them so that we will know how to block an FTP traffic. So here if you see, they have given the port numbers. So by default FTP server uses port 20 and 21. Okay, now let's see, we'll take this first one, test.rebex.net. so let's go to one of the client. Again I'm going to 56.20. This is 56.20. now let's try FTP test.rebex.net. okay. So here see, it is not able to access it. Now again, why? Put the answer in the comment why it is not connecting, because see, this is how the troubleshooting is important. You have to learn the troubleshooting also. Now why this machine is not able to do FTP, I want that answer in the comment section. Let's go to the second machine, and from here I will do FTP test.rebex.net. See, now I am getting username here. So from this machine I am able to access it. So the username they have given is demo and the password is password. So I have logged in. So this is how this machine, which is 56.30, is able to do FTP to this particular FTP server. Now we want to block this. So next time if the user gives this FTP, a user should not be able to get the login prompt. Now to add the rule we require an IP address. Let's see whether it takes the name. So if I say add, we want to block. Now again it's a TCP because FTP service uses the TCP. Source address will be 192.168.56.30, the second client. Now in the destination, is there any option where we can specify the name? So if you see, there is no option, address or alias. So here if I try www, sorry, it's our test.rebex.net. I'm typing this and let's try to click save. See here what error message you get. Test.rebex.net is not a valid destination IP address or alias, right? This is why you require to get the IP address of that name. So let's find out. So how to find out? Of course, NS lookup. Okay, so this is the IP address. Let's add that IP address. Now let's save the rule. See, now it is accepting and click apply changes. And that is why we have seen that it's difficult to block internet sites by using this packet filter firewall, because it requires IP address and each time you have to find that, which is a difficult task for the administrator. Now let's go to the second machine, this machine from where we were able to do the FTP. Let's try. See, there is no reply coming in. This is because we have blocked the FTP traffic. Now in this case, if you see, our rule here is blocking all the TCP traffic. We did not specify the port. That's why entire traffic is blocked. Now if there is any service running, the user will not be able to access. Now what happens is, in certain conditions, it may be like multiple services are hosted on a single server, that is the single IP address. So a server may be hosting a web server, a database server, and maybe the FTP server. Now what is the requirement is 192.168.56.30 should not be able to access FTP service on this IP. But what if this IP is hosting a web server and 56.30 can access this web service? But now with this rule, it is not possible. This machine will not be able to access any service on this IP address. But that is not the requirement. So this rule is wrong. So now what we have to do is modify. So click on it, edit button, and then what changes we have to do? Now here in the destination, we have to specify the port. So instead of any, we can select, see, FTP is already mentioned in this list. So here you have a lot of options available. You can select them directly, or if you want, what you can specify is you can click on other and then type here 20 and 20, 20. Okay, so if you want to block, you can specify like 20 to 21. It means 20 and 21 also will be blocked. Okay, so now you can click save. So in this case, now this rule is blocking only ports 20 and 21. So traffic going to FTP server will be blocked, but this IP will be able to access 56.30 will be able to access web server which may be running on port 80 or 443 on this particular IP address. This is how you have to be very selective in these requirements. So click apply. Now again let's go to this second machine and test the rule whether it is working. This is how, after adding each rule, please check from the client whether it is working or not. So now let's look at the rule management options that are provided by the pfSense console. Now this is where you have added all these rules. So what options you get to manage these rules? Now sometimes you may want to change the order of the rules. So in that case you can just select, drag and put this rule anywhere you want, but make sure you don't put the rules, block rules, below this all allow rule. Okay, so I have shifted this rule here, and now you have to just click this save button. Okay, then this click apply changes, and then the rule will be saved to this location. This is how you can use drag and drop and shift the rules anywhere you want. Okay, now the options on the right hand side that you have is, this one is to delete. If you take the pointer to that particular option, you will come to know the use of that particular option. So anytime you want to delete the rule, you can select this option. So the next option here is disable. So sometimes what happens is you may want to temporarily disable that particular rule and allow the traffic, or sometimes you want to check whether this particular rule is creating problem for some other traffic. This is how you want to just test. So temporarily you want to disable the rule, so you can use this particular option. Now next option is to copy. So if you want to apply the same rule to some different IP address and with a slight change in that particular rule, then what you can do is you can copy that. Now let's see, this particular rule is blocking DNS traffic to 8.8.8 from 56.30. Let's see what happens when I click on the copy button. Okay, so if you see, everything else remains same. Now let's see, there is a machine 56.40. So I want to apply the same rule to this particular IP address 56.40. So just by changing this IP address, everything else is same as that rule. And if I click save, apply changes, now this is where you see a rule will be created. This is how, if you want to make a slight change and create a new rule, you can just copy that rule, make the changes and save it. Now this next option is edit. The pencil like option is to edit the rule. So if you want to make some changes to the existing rule, just click on that edit, it will open it. Now whatever changes you want to make, you can make those changes. So let's say I want to block the echo reply also. So just press the control button and click on the option here, and then click save. Click apply changes. So now this rule is modified. Now this rule, instead of blocking only echo request, now it will block echo reply also. This is how you can edit this. Now this particular option, so here if you click, see nothing is happening. But if I select these two rules, block rules, and see, as soon as now I take the pointer here, it says shift above. Okay, so because these rules are below this particular rule, that's why you are getting an option to shift the selected rules above this rule. Now let's select this particular rule which is above this particular rule. So if I take the pointer here, again it is saying shift this rule above this. Press shift button and take the pointer here. So you can see now it is showing the down arrow. It means the selected rule will go below this particular rule. This is how, if you just take the pointer without the shift key, you can move the selected rule above this rule. But this rule is already above. I don't want to do anything. So only option is I want to shift it below. So press shift and bring the pointer here and click. So now if you see, this rule is shifted below. Okay, again click save, so it will save, apply changes, right? This is how you can manage the rules in this particular pfSense firewall. In this video, we have looked how to add the packet filter rules in pfSense firewall. As I said, most of the firewalls, basically the packet filter firewalls, do the same thing, whether it's an access list in your routers, whether it's IP tables, and that is a Linux firewall. So most of these packet filter firewalls will be doing the same thing, filtering the packets based on these parameters, but only thing is their configuration option is different. So when you have to work with the packet filter firewalls, the main important thing is you need to understand which traffic it is, what protocol it is using, what is the source IP address in the requirement, what is the destination IP address, and the port numbers. If you know these things, you can manage the packet filter firewalls in a very good manner. So as an administrator, it is most important thing to manage these firewalls, because any unwanted traffic brings a lot of risk to your network or network systems. So that's why configuring firewalls is the most important thing. But always remember, along with configuration, troubleshooting is important. So in this video, I asked you some questions. The first one was related to DNS. Why DNS is using UDP and TCP port 53? The second question, when we blocked the traffic to 8.8.8, the DNS traffic, this UDP traffic from 56.20, my question was, can this machine now access internet? So my third question was that when we tried to connect to FTP first time without any blocking rule, the 56.20 machine was not able to access that. Now why? So I need these answers. So I hope you understood the concept of packet filter firewalls and how the rules are added into this packet filter firewalls, the rule management options in the pfSense firewall. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you liked all the earlier videos also. If you have any suggestions, please put them into the comment section. If you have any questions, you are always welcome. Please put them into the comment section. In the next video, as I said in the earlier video, we will be looking for the proxy firewalls. Okay, so till then, goodbye, and please subscribe if you like these videos. So thank you once again. See you in the next video.